Welcome to the Blue Ocean Solutions podcast, where we dive into real conversations with business owners, innovators, and industry leaders shaping the future of clean tech, construction, and the renewable energy sector. I'm Kreel Hutchinson, your host. Our guest today is Neville Bell, the Managing Director of Solmatix Renewables in Northern Ireland. Today, we discuss his journey from electrician to leading a £15 million powerhouse solar team, including the pivotal moment and management buyout allowed him to double the business in 2 years by capitalizing on market shifts and a £10 million order book. If you're a commercial solar contractor, you will love this story because Neville shares the strategies from scaling a service business from £6 million to £50 million in a highly competitive, regulation-heavy marketplace. It's an example of how deep industry expertise combined with focus on operational speed can create a market leader. Welcome to the podcast, Neville.
Thank you very much, Kurt.
I am super excited to introduce you to my audience because in general, we have a lot of North American solar providers and business operators. But as of recently, you'll be our second one that we've introduced from the UK and Ireland. So please introduce yourself to our audience, your role, your business, and what you guys are up to at Solmatix.
Thank you. No, here I don't like being the second one. Solmatix has always been about winning. Here, first place is here. Second is the first loser. What we learned here. No, I appreciate it. No, here Solmatix has been a fast-growing business from day one. It started in 2008 on a family farm, and it grew to be the largest in Northern Ireland and was acquired by an M&E contractor. And then in 2023, as you touched on, the management buyout completed, and we have went from strength to strength. We've grown to be a leading provider in say UK and Ireland. I really appreciate and enjoy this phase of life because I remember those early days where we were creating a space in the solar industry whenever people thought, you guys are mad. We probably were back then, but we appreciated the challenge and we weren't going to let it beat us to be able to be the market leader that we are today.
It's fantastic because I'm so impressed that, you really were the pioneers for 18 years doing this. And I think you have an incredible story of, starting a business, but then selling that business, working with another company, and then buying back that business. And then, taking it forward to where you're having the success today. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about what drives the mission behind your work and the purpose?
Surely the providing the service that Solmatix gives to the homeowner and the business-to-business end user, because we see and have from day one understand and have the belief and passion of the benefits of what solar can provide you, even in the climate that we have in the UK and Ireland. And it's been able to unwrap those potentials, and we knew at Solmatix from day one what we could do, and it was building a team to be able to do it. And that's what I'm very thankful of today, that we have built a team, we have a strong customer base, we are very relational and reputation driven, and we deliver what we say we would do, and that's what drives us. And it's to be here. It's not about here to turn up and to do a job for our customers. It's to be able to provide that service where people, Solmatix are the people that you want to talk to. They did X, they did Y, but you're only as good as your last job. So here, their last job has to be up to the standard and expectation. And if it's not, we need to learn from that, fix it, and move on. And as I would say, see it, say it, and fix it. You want to say see it and say it, and there's only two parts. Fixing it and delivering is the all three parts. And as I said recently, to why did I enter into what I did? It was if you can't dream it and you can't see it, you'll never do it. So that was all part of my thinking in regards to the Solmatix dream. And for now, it's like putting it on the world map. Now that's the next goal. We've achieved and doubled in size, but now it's about enjoying it and seeing what signature projects we can complete across the world.
Yeah, before we get into those details of the incredible growth that you've had in the last couple of years, I want to highlight something because I've spoken to a lot of business owners and a lot of initial founders and innovators that had their business off the ground and then they sold it to another company and then kind of started working for that other company. And I think many of them ended up having regrets around that or kind of felt like, they were kind of forced to initially, but then things kind of changed. And very few of them do what you have done, which is basically buy back the business, as I understand, so that you're fully in control. I'd love to understand a little bit more. What caused you to sell the business in the first place, and what caused you to want to like buy it back into your own control?
Purely, it was just timing. The timing that was right for the market and where we were as a business to enter into another phase of its life. And then post COVID, and sadly, whenever the war in Ukraine commenced, the price of electricity increased and the price of solar decreased. And I looked at where Solmatix was in the marketplace and could I recreate that brand and go back to the business to business market that we grew very much from the early days. That was here. I don't think about the here and the now. People probably like just what you've explained there. What life was like. But I've always been interested in the learning through that phase of here the sale, and even the learning in the phase of the buyback, and now where you go to, because every day is I want to say a school day, as you hear the phrase, but I appreciate it because none of us are perfect, and it's what we can do together to be able to learn quickly. But the bit that I'm probably part of is change things quickly, decide things quickly, and move on. Not all decisions are the right decisions, but as long as I get more decisions right than wrong, here it's a success. The facts and the matter of where we are and where Solmatix is going speaks for itself, and that's I enjoyed that phase because I was became what was a family standalone business, then became part of a PLC. And enjoyed the integration of a business within another business, and being able to integrate that successfully, but then to be able to extract it successfully and bring it into the next phase of its life. So if I'm a firm believer of your life's mapped out for you, and there you just need to know when you look at the signpost what direction do I need to take, and sometimes you'll take the wrong direction, and here it's about here changing that direction quickly if you think you're on the wrong path.
I love it, Neville, because I think that arc of 18 years of learning all the way has really set you up for, the awesome growth that you're having today. So as we start, let's dive a little deeper into that and share that with our audience. So can you tell us what has happened since the buyback over the last couple of years, what you guys have done both in revenue, but operationally? Who do you serve in which marketplaces? Talk about your ideal customer profiles and who they are and the trends that you have been able to take advantage of. You mentioned a little bit earlier, there's definitely some pivotal moments in the last few years on a global alliance that has really kind of pushed some wind into your sails. So kind of dive deep into like, what does that story really look like since the buyout moving forward in your business?
So to start you off on day one, we focused on the domestic sector, and there's grants and incentives available on the market, and we grew to be the largest domestic provider in the market before we were acquired. At that time, we were also diversifying into do a small amount of business to business and a small amount in the retrofit market with mechanical and electrical contractors and main contractors, mainly in Northern Ireland and in GB. We travelled to GB with the Northern Ireland contractor throughout the, I want to say, the downturn of the construction here I want to say in roughly, I want to say 2012, where a lot of the larger main contractors would have travelled to GB. We followed them, and we soon started working in London for Northern Ireland rates, but we soon realised that's not sensible, and we need to grow our own base on our teams on the ground in GB and the Greater London area, and that's what we did. But whenever you fast forward to, when I say as part of the buyback from was looking at, because we've installed thousands and thousands of systems successfully, was looking at exactly what does solar generate and how does solar provide you that return on investment, and entering back into that business to business market that we were successful in a much smaller scale, but we were successful, and we knew what we were doing then, and it was like looking back at and how do we open that box again and look at what does solar do and who do we want to do it for, and looked at those large energy users like your refrigerated cold storage, our an engineering business, anyone that's heavy electricity user, and how could solar be an advantage to them, and then provide our, you want to say, one-stop shop from design, supply, install, maintain, and get the customer's elbow to be able to say, this is what we can do for you, get their data, and to be able to look at what is the right solar solution for them. It might be that they need battery storage. They may not need battery storage, or here they might need a much smaller size of solar system than what others have provided them, and we can back that up with the facts and the data. And we've always been about, let's get the numbers and let the numbers do the talking, and that is how we have scaled that. But at the core, relationships matter, people matter, our own team at Solmatix matter, and here and our customers and suppliers. We pride ourselves of paying people on time, and being consistent. I was once told, very much into kart racing, as you can see the photographs in the background. If you can do one lap at that time, you can do every lap at that time. So my bet was, if you can do 1 month of it, £1 million of a business, you can do the next. You can do the next. But then, sadly, here, when that your brain expands to be able to be consistently doing that, I'm that person that's saying, "How about doing 2 million a month?" And it's not out of desire; it's out of pure will to win, and saying, "Here, you've got an opportunity. What can we do next? And who can we do it with?" And that's been the pure desire and momentum that we've been able to enter, because we were that first company that created that and cut that path for others to follow. Today here, it's now about here, how do we cut another path for others to follow? As I said, it's pure out of the desires that started the will.
Fantastic. As you talk about providing this exceptional service to your clientele and your customers, why don't you share with our audience an example of one of those success stories that can also highlight the value proposition that solar can bring to offsetting these very high energy costs that have been created over the last few years? Do you have a customer profile you'd love to share with us?
It's a large energy user that mainly uses electricity in the daylight hours, but that when solar generates, they're able to use it directly and they're not needing to store it, and they're able to benefit from it directly. And the system is, I'm not saying easily sized, but if you have an engineering business that has shift patterns, they wouldn't get the payback and return of investment of someone that has their operation of their business working from that 9 to 5, and they don't have, like a school, for example. The school is vacant, if you want to say, over the summer months where solar is at its peak generation. You need someone that has a consistent demand for solar, and then all you're doing is bolting it on to what their business is. And we're always been about, from day one, underestimate to overachieve. So whenever that's a customer has seen, like we have many customers today returning from those early days that were small business to business installations. They're returning today, probably we have a blue chip company in Northern Ireland that would completes a lot of projects and the product in the GB market is a company called Tobermore. We installed, for example, 200 panels for them in 2012. We installed a further 1,000 panels on our roof at the same site in 2016. And whenever we returned in 2024, we installed a further 3,000. Because for them, they seen Solmatix say what we would get and achieve in 2012, and we had the faith and confidence and the trust in them that they would provide and deliver in 2024. When you fast forward 12 years, and the only thing today is the output of a panel, which was, I'm going to say, started off life in Solmatix market had a panel output was about 160 watt, took 185 watt. Then 10 years later, it was roughly 250 watt. For the same footprint today, it's 500 watt. And the price of the product it's at its all-time low, probably most likely to increase with demand on a global scale now. That is how I've seen here. Solmatix is a way of life. It's not a business. I'm just fortunate to be in a position to have a job that I wouldn't classify a business. And you go to work, you want to say, you get to work with people, you get to win. Yes, you get to lose as well, but hopefully you lose or you win more than what you lose. And you deliver a service that people see the benefit and they get a saving from a product. And not only that, you're providing a product that's helping the environment for us, our kids, and future generations. So it'll be great to look back at, and hopefully when I get to retirement age, that here, what did I do for the planet, and what part was I part of? And many of our, stroke all of our solar systems will probably be still operating, because people say, well, I'll not be around with the product that has 30 years of warranty. I'll not be around then, not need to worry about it. But like, as much as solar today is like 25 and 30-year warranty, I want to say, even whenever that time passes, the product itself will still be, I want to say, be able to be, it'll still be 80% or 85% efficient at that time frame. Solar's been around a long time. Like, I'm looking in front of me at a solar calculator. You want to say, how long has that been around? And it's just now seeing today, as people see and have experienced the product, and being able, the faith and the trust is in it, even in the climate that we are in, to go, even in the dull, clear, cloudy days and the months that they get the lower generation, like December here, and then all of a sudden you're looking at it in June and they're thinking, can't believe the system actually done as much as that now. And as I said, I remember a business that we've installed 2 properties to, and the guy said here, now, will it, as he says, I want to look into your eyes, will it do what it's you said it will do? And I says, do you think if it didn't, here, people wouldn't have caught on by now? And with that, they invested £500,000 in a project. And here, never look back. As I said, I'm thankful to have thousands of customers with Solmatix that never regret putting a solar system in with Solmatix. So here, that speaks for itself.
Amazing. I think the best days of solar actually are in our future. I think the entire industry has matured. As you said, the technology has gotten better. The outputs are so much more effective. And the advancement in battery storage is really kind of moved the market forward into, an ultimate solution on many fronts. So as you look forward, how do you continue to find all those great customers for your business?
We're always on the lookout. We're always looking, and we've thankful many Solmatix relationships and customers that have had such an experience. So they happen to be at an event, and somebody said, "Do you install solar? What was your experience of it like?" We're thinking of looking at it. We're considering it, and the things that's always shared on the tip of their tongue, which I really appreciate it. Like, you're wasting your time talking to anybody else. Solmatix is the company to go for. They've been around for 18 years. You want somebody that, if you do have a fault in the future or an issue in the future, you lift the phone, they'll be there with you. And thankfully, here, it hasn't been an easy journey. As people talk about the solar coaster, we've done it. We've had we've had ups and downs throughout the phase. But here, we've got up, we kept going, and we're planning to be here. But as you say, the best days is only yet to come. As I said to someone as they were looking at the Solmatix business, I said, "Look here, we're only getting going," and I genuinely mean that. Because I remember years gone by, the order book at the end of a financial year, starting a new year, what it would have consisted of and the value. And today, I'm very much about here that order book growing, and not just the growth of the turnover, but the growth of the Solmatix business, because it once was a startup. Here, it had its challenges in a market that was very challenging. And now it's on the springboard, and it's just where do you take the next step and that leap of faith? And as we look at signature projects across the world, our own team will say to me, "Neville, why do you have the desire to go there?" And I said, "Well, if we thought that, Solmatix would never be what it is today."
Well said. Hey, so then what is the next step for you guys? Where do you want to see, growth continue in your business? How does your trajectory look like?
We want to be able to deliver, and we have a number of projects that's on the horizon here, to complete projects on the signature projects across projects in Egypt and Ghana and the UAE. So that's where we're focusing. We don't need to be in any of those projects, any of those countries, day in, day out. But I want to look back at the business that Solmatix has, is that we are completing a number of signature projects per year across the world, and to be able to offer and look back as I drive through Belfast today, as I did with my mum last week. I said, "Here, we've done solar and that roof." She's done solar and that roof, done solar and that roof. She says, "Now, what roofs have you not done solar on?" I says, "There's a whole lot yet to be discovered." That's the suppose the joys of it, because there is so much rooftop on the market in, I'm going to say, the UK and Ireland. It's like, as we start to grow into Ireland, we've been a market leader in Northern Ireland, but as we start to grow into Ireland, it's a market that is in a different place compared to the north, and we're naturally growing there with companies that have, I'm going to say, locations in Ireland, and we're naturally going to install there just purely out of our relationships, and we look forward to that because we've been working as far away as Cork, and when you look at the map and compared to where Belfast is and where Cork is, sometimes it's easy to go and do a job in London, but we like a challenge, and that's part of it. One of my colleagues will say to me, Neville says not no to nothing, and I thought, here, once you start to say no, the message starts to spread. I'm always here at the end of the phone to say, yes, here, we'll get it sorted for you. Sometimes I'd like things sorted quicker than others, but here I also understand we have other customers that we need to look after, and not everybody's number one on the priority list, and we try to make sure here everybody gets the service that they require.
I love it, Neville. I think it's the philosophy of a great entrepreneur and business owner is to say yes and then go figure it out, right? Rather than having to have all the answers and all the box checked and be like, you know what, let's just do it. I have trust in our team and what we can deliver, and we'll go figure it out. And if something breaks, if we make a mistake along the way, no big deal. We'll figure that out too, right? So it's always failing forward. So I think that philosophy has really served you well. As you look at your business, then, that we've talked about so many of the things that are working really well. On the flip side, what are some of the challenges?
Growing the team, because it still is a market, even though we're 18 years of age nearly, it still is a technology in the market that there's a lack in the skill set in the market. It's like, if you want to find contracts managers that have had a proven track record and experience in the market, it's not. There's an apprenticeship scheme that you go through to be part of the, say, the renewable stroke solar PV market. It's very much investing in the individual and for the team for the long term. So that is the challenge, where it takes time. You have to be patient. It's probably not my strongest skill, but I've got better over the years, and to be able to work with and say, like, attitude is everything. If the person, and together we have the right team, and the person fits, and their attitude was. Yesterday I was out doing some Christmas shopping, and I met an old foreman of mine, and he said to my wife, by far he was my best apprentice. And I said to my wife after, was, here, I'm very pleased to hear that. And she says, like, "Oh, I'm sure you were." And I says, like, he wouldn't give that credit easily. And today here I try my best to be able to share that whenever somebody does a good job within Solmatix, or whenever they first came here, I'm looking out here as to a placement student in the office that here is in whenever we're closed for the holidays, but he was here. He came here as a placement student, and he's one of our most technically competent guys. And literally, he came to the Solmatix business of and was thrown in the deep end. But his attitude was everything, of like, no matter what you give him, if he didn't know how to do it, he soon found out how to do it. Where it was online, where it was YouTube, what it was. And today, he's much more technically competent than what I am. But I enjoy that, because I'm not about holding anybody back.
Hey, I think it's fantastic, Neville. I speak to a lot of business owners, and one of the major challenges is exactly what you have said here, which is like finding the right people to grow your business so that you can scale. Sometimes the vision and the speed of the owner is going at a certain speed, but the team is going at a different, operational functionality that just can't kind of keep up with that vision. And so as you've grown significantly in the last couple of years, and you have the vision and the speed to keep accelerating on the hiring front, what I've seen and the conversation I've had with a lot of people, and this might be like a conversation you're currently having or a new conversation to be had, is how do you support the current team? If you're, rather than hiring more people, a lot of people are looking towards like AI solutions in order to like automate or streamline a bunch of the mechanical redundancies that happen either in the sales or the delivery or the communication between teams. If there was something in your business that you wanted to streamline so that the current team could actually like improve its efficiency by, let's say, 20%, what would be some of those things that you would look at and wanting to like get some solutions around?
Probably the passage from whenever a contract is secured, the passage from the handover, making sure that communication is everything, and from the handover from a contract through to our design stroke pre-construction department, which is then combined and led by our contracts manager, that's associated to that contract, making sure every little bit of communication and detail is shared, so that whenever the baton is lifted of responsibility from sales or business development to contracts, works seamlessly, so that the handover of that naturally happens. The customer feels their hand is held throughout it. Yes, they have a new Solmatix representative in front of them, but that person knows exactly what's going on, maybe even more than what the salesperson did, right through to that commissioning phase, and making sure it's a completely seamless transaction right through into the finance, whenever the project is completed. So that, to me, I always think of role reversal of, if someone was coming to my house to put in PVC windows or a kitchen, and the experience, that's everything, because from you walk into that showroom, that guy comes out to do the site survey and to measure everything up. It's the confidence, it's the trust. Price is part of it, but that whole transaction and how that completes, if it's completely seamless and smooth, the company is proactive in the communication, and it's not the customers actually chasing for somebody to do a job at their house that they're actually paying for. That's the bit that I'm the focus is on as we grow. How do we grow? But here, all those bits that sounds very simple there whenever you just say it like that. How that happens whenever you're doing to the scale of getting to, I'm going to say, £2 million of business and installations a month, and sometimes the makeup of that can be one large and smaller ones, or two large, or sometimes, like in a month we could be doing 30 to 40 projects a month, and growing from that. So, and no matter where you're a Solmatix customer, it's just a service installation. It's maybe, I'm going to say, it could be hundreds of pounds to hundreds of thousands of pounds. The experience that you receive is here needs to be exactly the same, and everybody treated equally. So that is one of the biggest items to want to say focus on, because I do like to run fast. We always, even if anybody comes to Somatics for an interview, no matter for what role, we myself and a fellow director will say to them, just so because it's not a shock to you, we work fast in here, and we operate fast, and we do, say so. If you're not up for that, we want to say, we nearly know with whenever they say, what do you mean by fast? And we give an example of when a job comes through the door, or an inquiry comes through the door, when we're back to them, to when we're putting in panels on the roof. And you see here, that's either excitement or, that sounds like a bit of work is involved in that. And then here, that's, I soon can get turned off, as I once said to a fellow director and my own wife. I went, that individual doesn't walk fast enough for me, never mind anything else. So I said, it's a mindset. I've always had that desire for goals and different things. It was like, here, I've always had the faith that I would achieve it, and being patient for your time.
Think a lot of companies, a lot of business owners really value that. Some call it like the white glove service, from the initial inbound conversation all the way to fulfillment, that, the industry knows people will pay more for better service, better communication. Then that's what they want. They just want to know that they're trusted, and what they're paying is really of value. So I think maintaining that really high white glove service all the way through your process will be, an important detail continue forward for you guys as you grow. Another thing, because you've mentioned there's heavy reliance on referrals and word of mouth. Obviously, that makes sense. You guys are the pioneers in the region. As you start to expand out, what are your ideas? I know our audience members that are similar business will be interested. What are your ideas about exploring marketing or outbound lead generation stuff versus just referrals? Or do you think the referral side of your business is big enough to continue to have this scalable growth?
It's probably big enough, referral to have that scalable growth, but to make sure there is, I'm going to say I'm not a betting person. And yes, people say here, you don't mind taking risk. As long as I know in my head, it'll be okay. I'm comfortable with it. But to somebody else, that would be like, I don't know how he sees that. But here he did, and we got through that. You don't often hear, or I don't even want to hear it. He was right. I'm not interested in that. It's about your Solmatix wins. Uh, it's no different than what we did years ago. Instead of waiting for the customer to come to us and knock on our door or send that email or lift that phone call, we go to the customer. And that's what we did years ago. Whenever we started to do trade shows, we even, instead of waiting for someone just to land on our stand, we went to the customer and saying, "Have you heard of Solmatix? Were you interested in solar?" And that is what we have commenced, because we have had a very strong business to business market in Northern Ireland, and that's what we have invested in July of this year, to look at the business to business market in GB. Because to be honest with you, you flew into different towns and cities in, I will say, England and Wales and Scotland, and there's so much rooftop that's requires solar. And we're now about here, let's go to the customer of who Somatics are, what they have done, and nobody has a better, and I can say that with confidence, a better story to tell than what Somatics did. A company that was founded out of a family farm shed that was a converted dairy farm, and have moved to, probably lost count of the different locations that we've had over the 18 years of trading. And whenever you're as flexible and as versatile as what we have been, that's why we're now in the market of, let's go to the customer with the product that we know is successful and the people who we are, that we know we can deliver it. And we're now going to that business to business customer across GB. We are confident to say, well, people say, well, will you just pick a base in GB and maybe do installations from in within a 100-mile radius? I says, no, here, anything from the top to the bottom of it, we'll cover the lot. Yes, here there might be areas and specific catchments that we're more interested in, but if there's a project comes up that we feel that what we can deliver, and with it's the right size and value with the right customer for us, here we'll be up at Aberdeen next week. If you want to say, maybe not for New Year's Eve, but we'll be there. You want to say to fit solar, and then that's just how we will look at things. So I never like to just boxes off in one area, because if it did, we probably would never have got out of that bar if we hadn't a team that here were wanting to push Solmatics to new boundaries. And that's no different today. Probably, maybe my mindset's maybe even got worse. Sometimes even my mother said to me, why do you want that, all that, and what do you need all that for? And I said, don't need it. I said, it just here, I've got past the, just need to keep the enjoyment of it and keep it, don't want it to become stale.
Neville, I think something that I've noticed with great business owners and entrepreneurs is where you're currently at. It's like taking advantage of the opportunity is just the next natural step in the evolution of yourself and also the business, right? It's not even striving or going off course. It's just like, it's the next thing that I'm naturally guided to do in my life, It's like, and that is a really good sign that you're in a great business. You got a great team, you got a great value proposition. And it's time to continue to double down, right? Because you got momentum, which is exciting. So as we move towards the finish line of the podcast, what are your strategic advantages that you, let's say your strategic opportunities that you were really looking at for the next 6 to 12 months to continue this growth with Solmatrix?
Looking at projects outside of those signature projects outside of the UK and Ireland would be we're being very selective in that, because it's not like we need to be doing a bank in Egypt every day of the week, or different locations. It's seeing where would be the fit, where does it actually work from a operational program wise, that we would have capacity at that time frame, and then understanding not to overcommit ourselves, because I have been from early days in Solmatix, because of very much heavily from that sales and relationship with customers. Here, as you said, say yes and figure it out later. Probably got to that point is be careful what you say yes to, because it might not always be. You'll be able to figure it out later, and I've been able to be successful at that. But there's a time that here you can bite off more than you can chew, or as someone once said, if you go fishing, the fish you catch, that big fish could pull you in, and I don't want to be that person where you hear people say just about that big fire and small fire, and I want to say just you can grow too fast at the same time, and I don't need to run the wheels off Solmatix and the team, because it needs to be stay the maintain the culture within the company that I very much enjoyed. As here it has transitioned over the years, so it's being mindful of those things as well, because I probably think about those things more this time of the year as I reflect on the year, and as we look ahead into a new year, just to hear where do we need to go, not be too ambitious, because it's bringing everybody with you on that journey. And I've been thankful to people and grateful of the customers, suppliers, and team that's been with us on that journey. So just be careful enough, but at the same time be ambitious enough, and it's getting that balance that sometimes I torture myself about, where my wife will say you can't win them all, and I'm like, here, as I said the other night, I said, once you don't care about losing, I want to just forget about it, because here, if it doesn't feel painful, even if you lose a small job, here, you can't call yourself here a winner, because you don't see you've lost all the care. So it's that competitive advantage. It's a DNA thing for me, and it's here, it's been able to just manage that.
Well, Neville, I'm very grateful that you've spent the time to join us today and share your story and your philosophy and vision for both your journey, but also where things are headed, including the solar really in Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Great Britain. It's fantastic to share that information and give, I would say, some hope and also success stories across the ocean from what's happening in America, because it's been more of a challenging year on this side of the pond, where it's been more growth orientated for you. I think there'll be, 2026 will continue to be a good year for everyone as we move forward. But I want to thank you for your time. Before you leave, I'd love you to share, if anyone in the audience wants to get a hold of you, they want to talk about your business, they want to potentially, talk about being a client of yours. How do people get a hold of you? Where do they find you?
Easiest here. Say my mobile number is that whenever from the early days, I used to put my mobile number on every plaque that we installed, a bit like the number plate on the bottom of or on your car or number, and I had to stop doing it, because the calls I used to get at evenings, weekends, I thought let's just put the office number on that moving forward. Uh, Still thousands of people out there that still ring me here. I remember the morning I was getting married, and the guy rang me here, just an unknown number. The number came up when I answered it, and he said it was a Saturday morning, and a couple. I remember my mum looking at me as if, "No, you're getting married today. You don't need to be talking to people about solar this morning." But just the office number of 028 90 824 000, or my email address is just Neville, Neville, it's .bell, Bell, at Solmatix, SOLMATIX.com. But just be careful, because a lot of people introduce an R, a Soul Matrix into it. It's just matix.com. So on our website is then www.solmatix.com. So here, you'll have no problem getting in touch with me, and I'll be back to you within that. I try to always be as responsive, because I would complain, it's probably a fair thing to say, about if I make an inquiry to other companies for different things, and to be honest with you, you think that email sent, or did they receive that, or is their website down? So I don't want us to be guilty of something I complain about. So here, I'll probably, at the back of we have an info@solmatix.com email address that is also a general one, but I always like to make sure here, if all else, somebody makes an inquiry or contact about whatever, if we don't have an answer for them on that day, at least make contact with them to make sure you have acknowledged it. For me, that's everything. Where because that initial inception on that day one, you've only got one time to make your first impression. So, that's what we're all about.
Perfect. Neville, I'll also, for our audience, I'll include all of your links and stuff down below in the show notes so they'll be easy to access. Also, Neville can be found on LinkedIn where I've had several chats with him. So to my audience, well, to my guests first, Neville, thanks so much for being on the show. Really appreciate you. I wish you such great success in 2026. Of course, a happy holidays as well. And to the audience, thank you so much. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, leave a comment down below, share with other people you think that might find value in the show. And I also want to thank the audience for a wonderful 2025 as we kicked off the Blue Ocean Solutions podcast. It's been a great success. Thank you for all your support. Happy holidays, and we'll see you all in 2026.
Thank you.
Right.